Good morning, you amazing people. It is great to see you here and welcome back to the channel. I'm Wayne and I'm an alcoholic. In my alcoholism, I was so comfortable with being who I was and identified so clearly with I'm an alcoholic, therefore I drink, that everything was okay, so to speak, and I thought that I knew exactly who I was. It wasn't until I got sober that it was a real challenge to actually dig down deep and find out who I was. I was lost, I was scared, I was lonely, and I felt like nobody could ever understand what it is I was going through. I recently read a comment on Reddit that is a young woman and she is lost right now. She's been off heroin for a little while, but she's having trouble establishing who it is that she is. And I completely get it. And if you are struggling with your identity, there are challenging ways ahead of you in order to find out what it is that you are without alcohol and without drugs. Let's go. So when I was drinking, I was completely comfortable, right? With being a drunk. I identified with it. And so did other folks. Oh, there's Wayne. You better have a 12 pack. Oh, there's Wayne. You better ensure that we got beer at this party, otherwise he's not going to show up. And that went for every activity that was ever going to take place in my drunken history, that there was a criteria. And that criteria was there had to be alcohol involved in what it is I was doing and who I was doing it with. That's how everybody knew me. And they also knew me as somebody who could handle their own, because I would always show up for work and I was always ready to go. Fact is, folks, I was hungover and none of the negative aspects of drinking were calculating in my mind to tell me that I'm messed up. That's who I was. I was an alcoholic who abandoned his son and abandoned his wife, and I was okay with it because I was a drunk, and that's what happens to drunks. Sound familiar? Maybe, I don't know. So as I was reading that post, I could feel the loneliness and feel the despair in that young woman's heart, that it took me back to when I first got sober. When I first got sober, you know, not only did I stop drinking, but my Army career was about to come to an end. So that entire side of me was about to be gone as well, and so was the alcohol. I was in complete panic and complete anxiety all of the time. I couldn't even ground myself long enough to find out who it is I actually am without alcohol. It turns out that without alcohol, I am a better father, for obvious reasons, but the stronger reason is that, you know, I was living without alcohol. So that entire amount of time and that loss of self was not there anymore. So I had the opportunity to be present and be there for my son, and to be able to take part in what it is he was doing in his life. And it became important to me, as I started to establish my identity, to be a better father. Now, on that same coin, and this may not apply to everybody, but I had lost my wife and my son for the better part of 2 years, while I was in the highest part of my drinking history, which had left me completely alone. Like literally completely alone. Nobody wanted anything to do with me, and my wife and son were gone already. So as the alcohol became the latter part of my life and those things were not as important to me, I fortunately during rehab regained my wife and son. Now, I had a lot of work to do, and that wasn't going to be easy because I was about to lose my Army career, and I was already suffering anxiety from that. But now I had to start doing things that I didn't do before, and actually that I didn't know how to do, because everything that I've ever learned during my drunken history, I now had to relearn in my sober life. Does that make sense for anybody? If it does, drop that comment below, because someone else is going to read your comment and it's going to provide an impact for them, and perhaps be that turning point where they say, huh, I do have a damn problem, and I am not alone in this, and I can do it. I can do it. I can stop drinking, or I can stop using, and there is life after it. That's the message that I'm trying to stress here. Now, on this journey to find my identity, I didn't know what I could do, and I didn't know what I couldn't do. As a matter of fact, even today, 6 years later, I'm relearning still an enormous amount of things, and it makes me feel a little inadequate at times. But I don't have to worry, because I don't have to drink today in order to solve that, and I don't have to be grounded in that former identity of I'm just a drunk, because I'm not. And I know that now. But what have I learned about myself? How did I find my identity? Because that's what this is about. I found my identity in the fact that I could be part of my son's life. And that sounds like, how's that your identity? Well, I had my son in 2004, and all the way up until 2016, I was drunk. So that is a lot of time that I lost, that now I have to say, who the F am I? Because I don't have that alcoholic self to rely on to say, you're this, or you're that, or you're the drunk, or you're the go-to guy, or whatever. You're the soldier, and blah, 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 because nobody wants to hear all that. And so I became an adventurer. I started doing things with my son, like I said, I never did before. I went mountain biking. Him and I used to pick a place on the map and just drive there, because, these are things I never took advantage of, life in general, while I was drinking. And I thought, what better way to find out who the hell I am than to do things I've never done before? Because I know I'm resilient. If I could survive my active alcoholism, I can thrive in sobriety. And that's where I'm going with this, really, is I learned to thrive in my sobriety, folks. Not just freaking live in it, thrive in it. And I did that by trying to do things for other people. Now, that might not be where you're at right now, and I get it. And if that is true for you, also put it down there, because like I said, someone else is reading that, and they are going to be able to identify with you, and perhaps you can be the difference between them going back out or not. I don't know, that makes sense for me. I started taking advantage of opportunities, and I started to regain who it is I was in the first place. Now, I was the drunk before, and I was the soldier. That's it, really. Not much else to it. And I was content with that. And I was the son of an alcoholic. That also fell into there as well. But where the true identity came in is where I found out that I was actually good at being a father, and I was good at listening to my son, and I was good at being present in his life, and I was also pretty good at being a husband. Now, at times my alcoholic self comes into play, where my old mind starts to travel and my thoughts start to ramble a little bit, and I have to reel them back in, because that part of me played a big role for the better part of 23 years. So I have to maintain that vigilance that I can fall back at any time, and there's a lot of work I have to do. So what else am I? I am a recovery advocate. Now, I'm not a professional. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a social worker, but it could be, maybe, if I put my mind to it. However, I am going to simply just share my experiences, strength, and hope with everybody out there in the universe. And if you get something from it, then I've done what it is that I wanted to do. And that is another part of my identity. I don't believe I am superior to anybody. I don't believe that, I have an up on anybody. What I actually believe is that we all recover together, and that as part of my identity as a recovery advocate, my job is to share whatever comes into my head that day, because someone else is probably thinking the same thing. Now, there's a lot of folks out there who think that, and I'm about to go on a tangent, that they can't really get out of their sense of self as an addict or an alcoholic. That is a true fact. I'm here to tell you, folks, I am no longer that alone. I'm a good father. Actually, I'm an optimist. I'm an advocate for recovery. I'm a pretty good husband. I support my wife instead of arguing with my wife. I support, what it is she wants to do in her life instead of what I want to do, because that was also part of my identity, as I was a selfish narcissist. And I feel that, I now know who I am, and I now know my purpose, which is identity in the first place, right? If you agree with that, I don't know, do that thing. Put that comment below. You can like or not like. It's just up to you to decide what is valuable from this video. If you've enjoyed anything that I put out here this morning, let me know that in the comments as well, because someone's out there and they're struggling with who they are, and it is a hard place to be. Because I'm gonna tell you, like, I was about to end it, but I'm not. So hold on. I live in Germany, right? I don't speak German very well, and I should. I really should. I am an American, but I haven't been back to America since 2009, aside from being a recruiter from 2009 to 2012. So I don't really have that national pride. I'm not a German and I'm not an American. I just am. And so for a while, as I was getting more productive in my sobriety, I didn't have a home to call. I like I said, I'm not a German, and I'm not in America at all. So I'm really not American. So where do I fit in? That, on top of trying to do all the things that I have to do in order to stay sober, is a bit stressful, and that does provide a lot of anxiety, and it does provide a lot of uncertainty. And that's where I have to rely on my higher power. Nah, don't turn that off. If you don't believe in a higher power, folks, I got it. But for me it works. And finding out who I was finding out who I am versus who I was the most important thing I could do as somebody living in sobriety. Because there's nothing like being out there just floating around all about by yourself, and you think you can just whip it, because you can't really. I mean, in my experience anyway, you're not going to make it, strictly on your own. We all need a support channel, and we all need to find out who it is we are. And I hope this helps that young lady. I'm not sure if it will, but that was the point of this video. Look, life is a garden. It's Sunday, folks. Get out there and enjoy the day. Even if it's a poopy weather day, get out there and enjoy your day. Do something productive and do something for someone else. I don't know. It seems to work for me. And show a little gratitude. Perhaps. If you want to see the daily reflections, you can find those in my video reel. Actually, the one for today is there for November 21st. Check it out. Let me know what you think, because it's guaranteed to, have you thinking a little bit, and I think that it'd be advantageous. Now, all you have to do is, in the search, just put in a daily reflections, even though some folks frown upon that, and give it a look. I'm Wayne. Life is a garden, folks. Dig it. And guess what? I'm gonna see you in the next one. Have a good day.